Now some back out. End zone, Jones. Touchdown.
Hello and welcome to another CSD Fantasy YouTube video. Today marks the first day of a new series that will go on for the next 32 weeks, namely the team score projections for 2017. The Falcons are the first team I will take a look at, which for me is very exciting. I recently moved away from Atlanta. That was my home for last year, so it's sort of my second home. But it's also a good team to start off with since they don't have that many holes in their offense, as you all know. So a rookie will most likely not impact their scoring too much. If you have any questions about the calculations or anything else, let me know in the comments. Let's dig in. So let's start with something to break the ice. Matt Ryan. To get through projections for Ryan, I've studied and analyzed every snap he's taken over the last 3 years and put them in relations to the amount of plays of all the 2017 opponents have given up over the last 2 years. Ryan will drop back to pass roughly 574 times in 2017 while getting off 538 of those. He will also attempt to run the ball, including kneel downs on 49 occasions. With those numbers figured out, I can get 3 different projections for Ryan. One for passing yards, one for rushing yards, and one for touchdowns. And to be as accurate as possible, I break down the field into 6 passing areas and 7 running zones that will help us determine where Ryan is most comfortable and where he has the chance to gain the most amount of yards from. For the passing areas, I have 3 stats to determine his yards. Percentage of times he throws to a specific area, what his completion percentage is in that area, and how many yards on average a completion is there for him. By knowing that, we can calculate the amount of yards he is most likely to produce next year. And for the running zones, we need percentage of times he runs to a specific zone and what his yards per run is in that zone, and put that in relation to his total rush attempts for the season. Analyzing his receiving and running patterns we get on these 538 pass attempts and 49 rush attempts, my score projection for Matt Ryan is 195.6 fantasy points from passing, 14.8 points from rushing, 116 points from all touchdowns, and 326.4 in total, which is a little step back from his 347.5 from last year.
Second down, Ryan escapes, gonna run, has some room, and a touchdown!
The second player I will discuss is Devonta Freeman, who, believe it or not, is not going to do the voiceover for the rest of this video. But since he is a running back, he will both be running and catching the ball. So for him, we have to change the completion percentage to catch rate, yards per pass to yards per catch, and handle the running in the same way we did with Ryan. With doing so and taking the stats from the 16 opponents Freeman will see, he gets 73 targets and 221 rushing attempts. With that, we see a total of 214.8 fantasy points for him, which is the same trend as we saw with Ryan. A setback from last year where he had 230 points.
Devonta Freeman inside the 20, the 10, touchdown, 75 yards!
Let's look at Tevin, who will be looking to get some more Cole line carries next season. Coleman, according to my data, will be the guy that will face the steepest decline. He had an incredible season last year, and it is not sustainable with how he runs and the teams that the Falcons will be facing. His fantasy numbers for 24 targets and 92 rush attempts will see almost a 60 points loss from last year and land at 92.4. He is a guy that I will not be looking to draft next season, and I recommend you to consider passing on him too.
Tevin Coleman, one man a beach. And now he fumbles the football, and Minnesota has recovered.
Julio is my favorite Falcons player, and I recently bought his jersey for my little cousin, which actually was my first NFL jersey I bought, so I'm hoping my projections will tell me to draft him again. But cutting out the running plays and focusing on only receiving for the last 4 players will make this go a little faster since we're running a little bit long. Julio will get 173 targets next year, and with those targets, create 213.4 fantasy points. That is 36 more than last year. But this of course assumes that he can stay healthy.
Get up, and there's Jones. Flag is down. Julio Jones with a catch. Still going. Still in bounds. Touchdown, Atlanta.
Mohamed came to the Falcons last year and had a big impact on the team and finished as wide receiver 57 in standard scoring.
His mama named him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. That's right.
But in my projection for next year, I see him getting 89 targets, and with those targets produce 7 more points than he did last year with 95.6.
Mohamed Sanu with a touchdown.
And now let's take a look at Honest Gabe, who only saw 51 targets last year. And according to my numbers, it will not rise that much and land on 55 for 2017. However, he is extremely efficient with those targets and will score higher than Sanu with 105.6 points, which is almost exactly the same amount that he had last year, and it only differs by 0.3 in favor of last year.
Near side, Gabriel. Look at the cuts and the speed. Gabriel still going. Touchdown.
So before we look at the last Falcon, wait, this just in. Anderson Hooper will play tight end for the Falcons next year. I'm sorry about this abomination, but I don't have the best photo editing skills out there. And no, let's just move on, shall we? It is difficult to say who's going to be the #1 tight end in Atlanta, but I assume Austin Hooper and projected him as such, which gave him 57 targets. And with those targets, he will produce 90.6 fantasy points, which is exactly double his fantasy points from last year. This is the projection that is a little uncertain since we don't know how they will proceed with their tight end situation. But Tammy is already gone, and Juilo usually doesn't get that many targets.
End zone. Pass is caught for the touchdown, Austin Hooper.
So to summarize the Falcons, if we can get through this last part without choking. No, but the Falcons are sort of my second team, so all jokes aside, let's summarize it all and where they would have finished in fantasy last year with their 2017 projections. And just so you have that in top of mind, these projections assume full health for all players. So most of the players will take a step back compared to last year, but since it was a record-breaking one, it won't make that big of a difference. I see the players who take a step back still score pretty decent next year, with maybe exception of Tevin Coleman, who I will try to avoid unless something happens to Freeman. Both Sanu and Gabriel are potential flex players, but don't see any of them as a second wide receiver at the moment. In deeper leagues and in Dynasty, I would not mind picking up Austin Hooper, at least as a streaming option. But in conclusion, I think that there's a couple of scenarios here. The first one, that the Falcons players are overrated and goes too high, and you're not gonna be able to draft either one of them at their right spot. Or two, people assume that they will regress from that record-breaking year too much, so they will stay away from them, and you can get a player like Freeman for a pretty good price. And I would like to know what you believe. Will they be overrated, or are people afraid of the regression? Comment below and let me know what you think. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Everything is appreciated. Check out Instagram and Twitter for more shorts and numbers with links in the bio. Go to csdfantasy.com for more fantasy numbers, such as Deshaun Jackson's personal score projection. And as always, the spreadsheets are dark and full of terror.